We shall now see the next batch of questions under lesson 1. The first question is, Banking Companies Regulation Act 1949 was subsequently changed to Banking-Act. The name of the act has been subsequently changed. Now the question is asking what is the revised name of the act. The options given to us are control, management, regulation and appropriation. What is the correct word that fits into the blank? The correct answer is Banking Regulation Act. Now why this change? Earlier the act was called Banking Companies Regulation Act, and in 1966 it was changed to Banking Regulation Act. Exactly on 1/3/1966 the name of the act was changed from Banking Companies Regulation Act to Banking Regulation Act, and the word companies was removed, was discarded. What was the necessity? That was because in 1965 the cooperative banks were brought under the controller of Reserve Bank of India as regulator. So the bank, whatever provisions that were applicable to the regular banks were also made applicable to cooperative banks. As a result, cooperative banks not being companies, they had to change the name from Banking Companies Regulation Act to Banking Act by discarding the word company from the name of the act. Section 56 of the Act states the provisions of this Act as in force for the time being shall apply to or in relation to cooperative societies as they apply to other banking companies. It was amended and renamed as Banking Regulation Act 1949 and extended to the cooperative banks also with effect from 1st March 1966. That is the import, meaning and the reason behind the change in the name from Banking Companies Regulation Act to simply Banking Regulation Act. Now we shall see the next question. The primary relationship between a banker and a customer is that of a bailor. 4 options are given: that of a bailor and bailee, that of a lessor and lessee, that of a debtor and creditor, that of a debtor and agent. So what is the primary relationship? You should remember and look carefully into the question. The question is, what is the primary relationship? Because there are so many other relationships possible which we have seen in the lesson. What is the primary relationship? The obvious answer is that of debtor and creditor. Because what is the primary function of a bank? Is to accept a deposit and lend money, and therefore the primary relationship between a banker and a customer is that of a debtor and creditor. And who is the debtor, who is the creditor? If the bank is accepting the deposit, bank is the debtor, and if the bank is giving loan, bank is the creditor. Please remember, this is the primary relationship. There are other relationships, secondary relationship and tertiary relationship, in which banker can become bailor, bailee, banker can become lessor, lessee. But you should always remember the primary relationship between a banker and a customer is that of debtor and creditor, depending upon whether the bank is accepting deposits. If the bank is accepting deposits, bank is the debtor. If the bank is giving loan, the bank is the creditor. Now let us look at the next question. Banks open no-frill accounts for whom? Is the question. Reserve Bank of India has advised all banks to compulsorily open no-frill account. For whom these no-frill accounts are opened? The options are: it is for the super rich customer, for their staff and operating personnel, for court-appointed persons, the poor and below poverty line customers. For whom no-frill account is opened? This is a very simple question. The answer is the poor and BPL customers. Banks have been advised by Reserve Bank of India to open no-frill account for the poorer sections of the society, in which there will be zero balance. and they will be given a debit card, but no checkbook will be given. Some minimum operations will be allowed. So this type of account was called no-frill account, and it has been opened for economically poor people or BPL persons. Now the latest development under this is that Reserve Bank has advised the commercial banks to change the name of no-frill account into Basic Savings Bank Deposit Account, BSBD account. What was the necessity for changing this name from no-frill into this BSBD account? Reserve Bank has said that the word no-frill is attaching a stigma, because we say, we are now trying to put all these poor people into a separate enclosure by calling them as no-frill account, which is not to the liking of Reserve Bank of India. Therefore, they do not want this stigma of a no-frill account to be attached to any account. Therefore, they have advised the banks to change the name of no-frill account to BSBD account. Now let us look into the next question. The next question is exactly what we have just talked about. The next question is asking, all no-frill accounts opened earlier were renamed as dash account with effect from November 2015 as per RBI guideline. What is the revised name of the no-frill account? The various options are given: BSBD account, NRNR account, ASBA account, FCNR account. The correct choice is BSBD account, Basic Savings Bank Deposit Account. As per this change was effected as per advice of Reserve Bank of India under its guidelines date in 2012-13. Now let us look into the next question. Among the following instruments, 4 instruments are listed. Which is not a quasi-negotiable instrument? There are 4 instruments listed. The question is asking which is not a quasi-negotiable instrument. That means out of the 4 instruments, 3 are quasi-negotiable instruments. Only 1 is not a quasi-negotiable instrument. What is that? That is the question. What are the instruments listed? Bill of lading, railway receipt, share warrant, check. Among these 4 instruments, which is not a quasi-negotiable instrument? The answer is check. Why check? Because check is not a quasi-negotiable instrument, it is a fully negotiable instrument. As per Negotiable Instrument Act, 3 instruments have been recognized as negotiable instruments. What are the 3? Bill of lading, promissory note, check. So these are the 3 instruments which have been recognized by the Negotiable Instrument Act as negotiable instruments. All other instruments cannot become a fully negotiable instrument. Therefore, they may serve some purpose, and they are called quasi-negotiable. Quasi means half. What is a negotiable instrument? A negotiable in the advantage of a negotiable instrument is the transferee will get a better title than the transferor only in the case of a negotiable instrument. It can be the other 3 instruments like bill of lading. We have seen other 3 instruments, railway receipts. They can be transferred. There is no restriction on transferability. The restriction is on negotiability. Bill of lading can be endorsed and transferred, but the transferee will not get a better title than the transferor. But in the case of 3 instruments, namely check, bill of exchange and promissory note, which are recognized as negotiable instrument, the transferee will get a better title than the transferor. Some of you may find it difficult to digest what I have told because it is very refined, very minute, but we will see this aspect of what is negotiation in detail later on under some other lesson.